One human, 30 agents. It is the number every banking strategy deck now quotes. And it is real. But it is earned, not assumed. And most banks have the order backwards. Start with a gap that should worry every chief risk officer. In the financial sector, there are already about 96 machine identities for every human employee. Software agents holding credentials, calling systems, moving data. Yet the number a human can actually supervise in a real workflow is closer to 1 to 10, or 1 to 50 at the most. The identities have outrun the oversight. That gap between 96 and the safe span has a name: shadow agents. Automation running where no human is really watching, and no one is accountable when it fails. Most banks fail here not because the agents are weak, but because they scaled the fleet before they built the operating model to govern it. Consider the cautionary tale. One well-known firm claimed a single AI assistant did the work of 700 customer service staff, a ratio of 700 to 1. The headline was spectacular. The follow-through was not. Optimizing purely for the highest ratio, with no room for exceptions, produced robotic, friction-filled service, and humans had to be brought back for the hard, high-empathy cases. The lesson is exact. An arbitrarily high ratio fails the moment the audit and exception load exceeds what the human can carry. Autonomy without proportionate oversight scales risk faster than it scales efficiency, and the cleanup costs more than the headcount it saved. So the question for a banking leader is not how many agents we can deploy. It is what the safe span is for this workflow, and whether we have built the organization, the roles, the controls, the audit trail, to hold it. When the fleet grows faster than the oversight, leaders should stop counting agents and start designing the operating model. The winner is not the bank with the most agents. It is the bank where one human can safely supervise the right number and prove that span to a regulator on demand. So, how do you build a bank where humans supervise instead of execute? The Agent Army operating model rests on 4 pillars. First, span of supervision, the safe ratio of agents per human. It is a dial, not a fixed number, set by the workflow. A reversible, read-mostly task like drafting a credit memo supports a wide span, 1 human to 30, even 50. A low reversibility task, like routing a cross-border payment, collapses it to 1 to 3. The span is a property of work, not a target for the budget. Second, the human role shift. When agents execute, the human stops being a doer and becomes an orchestrator, an exception handler, and an accountable judge. New roles are forming. Workflow architects who design the agent tasks, output validators who own quality, and fleet operations managers. One large bank now has a named human manage its digital agents like junior staff. Third, orchestration architecture. How the fleet coordinates. A pipeline chains agents in sequence. A parallel pattern fans work out and votes. A mesh hands work between agents by expertise. A manager-led pattern puts one agent in charge of the rest. Each needs hard termination limits, or agents loop forever and errors cascade at machine speed. Fourth, the control plane. Legacy controls cannot hold this. Most staff already paste bank data into unmanaged tools. So the governance the gate, the guardrail, the ledger, the named owner, scales to the fleet. An immutable log of each agent action, a circuit breaker that cuts an agent off when it exceeds its limits, and every machine identity tied to an accountable human. Span, role, orchestration, control. That is the architecture of supervision. The first pillar, the span, is where most of the money and most of the risk live, so it is worth knowing exactly what sets it. 5 forces move the dial, and no single number holds across the bank. 2 forces raise the span. Reversibility is the first. If an agent's output is easily undone, a draft, a summary, a suggestion, a human can batch review many at once, correcting in bulk rather than one by one. Containment is the second. A read-only agent that only reads and summarizes can be supervised in large numbers, while an agent with write access, one that actually moves money or changes an account, must be watched far more closely and counted far more carefully. Three forces push the span down. Audit and explainability load is the first. When a regulator can demand the documented reason behind every credit denial, a human cannot supervise 50 agents if verifying each decision takes an hour. Exception rate is the second. A high variance task that fails often bottlenecks the single human who has to resolve each failure. So the messier the work, the tighter the span. And cost of error is the third. When one mistake carries a regulatory fine, a capital loss, or real customer harm, the safe span collapses toward 1-to-1. This is why a single ratio across the whole bank is a mistake. The same institution might safely run 1 human to 40 agents in marketing drafting and 1 human to 2 in payment execution. And both numbers are correct at the same moment, inside the same bank. When a workflow is reversible and cheap to correct, leaders should push the span wide and capture the leverage. When errors are irreversible, leaders should hold the span tight, no matter what the demo promised. The dial is set by the work, not by ambition, and not by the vendor. The banks getting this right are not the ones with the most agents. They are the ones rebuilding the operating model around the human. The clearest signal is structural. One major institution now treats its digital agents as junior employees, with a named human manager formally accountable for what the fleet does. That is the human role shift made real. And it is also what every regulator is about to require. Because the law has already closed the escape routes. In the United States, the revised model risk guidance pushes generative and agentic systems onto the bank to govern, demanding continuous monitoring, humans in the loop at material decisions, and an unalterable audit trail. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is blunt. There is no special exemption for artificial intelligence. If an agent denies a loan, you must produce the exact reason from its ledger. In Britain, the senior managers regime puts a named person on the hook, and the regulator has ended sampling. Reviewing 2% of interactions is indefensible when agents fail systematically, so the expectation is full, retrievable audit trails. Europe's AI Act makes human oversight a legal duty, with fines reaching 7% of global turnover. And Vietnam now requires 24-hour incident reporting and a customer's right to human review of any AI decision. Every one of those rules says what this series has said all along. The liability never leaves your balance sheet. 30 agents can act, but only a human can answer for them. So here is the Span Audit to run on Monday. 4 steps. First, map each workflow to its autonomy run and its 5 bounding factors. Second, set the safe span for that workflow, a target you earn, not a default you assume. Third, choose the orchestration pattern with hard termination limits built in. Fourth, stand up the control plane, a per-agent ledger, a circuit breaker, and every machine identity tied to a named human owner. Do that, and the multiplier the whole series has pointed to finally arrives. A bank whose revenue no longer rises in lockstep with its headcount, run at a structurally lower cost-to-income ratio. Stop counting agents. Start designing the bank that can supervise them. I am the AI business architect. Design the future. Defend the enterprise. Subscribe now.